change the battery. I hope it don't hurt it. We're not on. I'll find out in just a second. I might have to redo the live part. I might have to start the broadcast over. I don't have the camera on, so it shouldn't make a difference. Do a quick camera test. Good. All right. We're on. It works. Who's already?
Hashtag save our children. Follow the Facebook page when the system fails. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Liberty on Lockdown. I am Clay.
And I'm Huck.
It's great to be here. And we're here. We have a great show for you today, and we're excited.
Yes, we are. Welcome, welcome. Come and join us for today. We have some interesting information that's going on today, and we'd like to share it with you.
Correct. And we actually have a guest.
Melanie.
She's going to be on the show a little bit later. We're bringing her live. But we've actually just got back from Washington, D.C. on Sunday.
Yes, we did. We had an amazing trip.
It was an amazing trip. We're actually going to play a little clip. Actually, Huck got to...
we
interview
both,
some people.
yeah, we both did.
Yeah, we actually got to meet. We was hoping to share it with you today, but we'll have it later on our website with Mike Lindell.
Yeah, my pillow guy.
It was an awesome. We got to meet Louis Gomer, congressman from
Yes,
Texas.
in District 1.
Yes, so it was an awesome chat we got with him.
We had amazing interviews. We even tried to get an interview with Jonathan Kahn, but we weren't able to get that interview. But we did get a few pictures with him, and that was really fun.
Correct. And, that's all that matters. We got the pictures. We had a great time. And, that's all that counts.
Yeah, so we have an interview with evangelist Sharon Boland out of Dallas, Texas. We also have an interview with Gilad from Israel. And we have an interview with a young up-and-coming evangelist by the name of Matt Cruz, C-R-U-Z. So we'll have all that up on our website later on this evening.
Correct. So, Melanie, we have you here. We see you here. Just give us just a few minutes and we'll add you to the stream. We're going to play this quick video, a quick clip from when we were in Washington, D.C. So let's go ahead and get that going here. If we can find it. Here we go.
This was an interview that I did to women that came in from California. Yeah?
Yes.
That's the interview we're doing?
Yes. And we're going to let. And we're going to stop it right there because that is the key word. It's the mask versus the mark. And, what's next? What's next?
Right. Well, they're forcing you to mask up. And if you don't comply, then you cannot purchase food.
And if you don't wear the mask, they come in and not only they come after you, but they come after your families. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Melanie, we get ready to interview.
Mm-hmm. She's one of 3 women that a judge, I guess out in Florida, Judge Dale Cohen, Cohen, decided to take her son away from her because she didn't have a mask on at a doctor's office and she was open carrying, and he wants to use her as an example. So we're going to go ahead and bring in Melanie Rousell from Florida. She lives in Florida now.
Correct. How you doing, Melanie? Welcome to Liberty on Lockdown.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Great. It's great to have you here. And tell us a little bit about your story and what's going on.
So my son's father decided to keep him from me during COVID when it first began. We have a custody agreement that is court ordered, and he decided not to adhere to the court order. So I petitioned the courts with a pickup order, and I was denied. I petitioned the police department, knowing that it's a crime in Florida to interfere with timeshare, and they decided to leave it up to the courts. And so my son's father has technically kidnapped him from me, even though we have an agreement. So when I finally had my court hearing September 8th, 6 months approximately since I have seen my son, the judge decided to make an example out of me because my son's father presented a picture, which honestly, I'm not sure if the judge even saw it because I never saw his face. It was a Zoom hearing and just a picture of him. And so it was never entered into evidence, but this picture was of me in North Carolina, just an open carry state, at my oral surgeon's office, and it was time-stamped on the 18th of June, which is before the mandate began, June 29th at 5 o'clock. And so I took a selfie, and I put no mask for this girl in parentheses at my oral surgeon's office. As a result of that picture, the judge decided that, you know, my hearing, which was supposed to hold the father in contempt, and my hearing, which was supposed to give me the rights that I have court ordered to my son, had it just wasn't heard. And his decision was to punish me. And by punishing me, he told me that I had the audacity to post on social media, and he called me an anti-masker. And I clearly indicated that I followed the CDC guidelines and that picture was taken during a non-mask time, mandated time. And that was irrelevant to him. The fact that I had my pistol on my hip was an issue for him. So my criteria to have a picture with my son again is that COVID has to be eradicated. I have to have the COVID vaccine. My son has to have the COVID vaccine. I have to drive to Florida. We're not going to put the father out of his way. I have to wear a mask, and I have to pay for supervised visitation, and I have to quarantine for 14 days. So this is all in result of a picture of me during a non-mandated time, just taking a selfie and being punished by a very liberal judge, not liking the fact that I don't even know how to, I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't breaking a law. I was just putting a picture on my private Facebook because as a woman, I liked the way that I looked that day. And I just snapped a picture.
Well, that's what happens here. And we're seeing this more and more, how they're censoring us from Facebook. And, you know, they violate our constitutional rights every single day. I mean, it's your First Amendment right to express yourself. You have a right to express yourself in any way, and you also have a right to bear arms. The Constitution clearly states that in the Second Amendment. You have a right to bear arms. So this judge not only discriminated against you for bearing arms, he also discriminated against you for expressing your opinion, your right, your First Amendment right, your right to free speech, your right to expression. And you have that right at all times. There is no COVID-19, no judge, no nothing can take that from you.
That's right. I mean, I can't tell you how many pictures I have of myself saying no mask here. I mean, I didn't have a mask on multiple occasions because I don't want to be muzzled.
Correct.
So, you know, and if their mask works, then why are they worried about whether or not you wear a mask?
Correct. And that's the thing here. We live in a time right now that at the end of the day, we're in America, but these people think they can silence us. These judges think they are the rulers. They're the judges. They're not the lawmakers. The Constitution clearly states only Congress can create laws. And these judges think, and this has happened in the Supreme Court, it's happening in federal court, it's happening in state court, that, you know, they call it case law. There is no such thing as case law because judges can't make laws. Their job is to give an opinion and uphold the Constitution. And so your constitutional duties were denied, and your right as a mother was stripped of you. And let me tell you, I'm not a lawyer, but as a person who studies law, I would be filing suits against, because see, these judges are not immune if they break the law. I would go after this judge's job. I would report him to the Florida State Bar Association and say, hey, this judge needs to go. He violated my constitutional right.
Yeah, I'd get in touch with those other two mothers that he also took away their constitutional rights as a mother based on the mask mandates, and have them file something with the bar against him as well.
Correct. Tell us a little bit about the hearing.
Sorry? I wanted to add to that. With what you've suggested, I've done. And in the group that we began, Liberating Logan, 800 people have joined forces with doing that. And we've called U.S. representatives, we've called many attorneys, and it all falls down on the fact that, yes, we know the judge doesn't have the power, yet nobody else can step in authority to stop this judge. And we've asked him to recuse himself. He refuses to do that. So essentially, he has this power because he's done it with me. He's done it with another mother where they took her 22-month-old baby because she was on the beach without a mask on her face. There's another mother that hasn't surfaced because they've withheld the court documents. And I haven't been able to get anything overturned. It's been 7 months since I've seen my little boy. He's 14 years old. He has siblings that don't understand why we can't see him. And during a time like this where we're all suffering, and we all know that even in retirement homes, the elderly can't see their family, they're perishing, they're depressed, they're dying. So imagine what my little boy is going through, being separated from his family because of his father having a vendetta against me, and now a judge taking the rights of my flesh and blood. I'm a mother. I'm not an unfit threat that this man has said that I am. He says that I'm a threat, I'm a danger, and I'm an anti-masker. And as a result of that, he is playing God. He's taking my child. He's telling me that I have to have a vaccine. He doesn't know health. He doesn't know my son's health. So he's just putting something on the line there as a condition for me to see my son again, which is terrifying because my son does have it. I'm sorry, he does have an exemption. He does have a gene that if this vaccine were given could potentially end his life. But I have no say. I have nothing I can do. I've consulted attorneys with civil rights and whatnot, and they all say to me, you're going to have an area, that's going to be an issue. You just need to stick with your family law lawyer. Or if you want to sue, then you need $75,000. And everything comes down to money. Everything comes down to power. And everything comes down to making an example, right? And being in this era that we are in right now, with the judge having the ability to do that to me, and the police that are arresting people without masks and putting them in jail, is just going to further, if we as a nation don't rise up and we don't fight back, and we don't do something about it, right? Like writing letters doesn't do anything. Making phone calls doesn't do anything. And now we're trying to work on a protest to do something, but it's still a work in process, and it's been 7 months.
What about reaching out to the judge?
There is no reaching out to the judge. The judge,
I'm sorry, he's the governor, not the judge.
I reached out to the governor, and I got an email from the governor that they can't get involved, that this is a custody dispute. And I said, no, it's not a custody dispute. This is my constitutional rights being stepped on dispute. This is a judge overreaching his power dispute.
Exactly, and this judge has overreached his power. Like I stated earlier over the phone, I really think a change of venue needs to take place because you're not more than likely going to get a fair hearing in this venue. And it's when I sued our governor, I didn't sue them in their venue because every lawsuit here in Louisiana, mass lawsuit that happened in state court, with one exception, lost. Every lawsuit that was filed in federal court won. So what needs to happen is this needs to be appealed, and you'll have to go through the process to the state Supreme Court. Let the state, not the Supreme Court, the appellate court, and then the state Supreme Court, and let that process go through. And then if you lose there, then take it into federal court and let the federal judge step in. Being that you're in Florida, you may be able to go directly and have it removed out of state court in a federal court, being that you're not in Florida anymore, you're in North Carolina.
We've been trying to get it moved out of the county that it's in for years. His father's not in the county that this judge resides in. The way that we were going to originally get it out of the county was by the fact that I moved to North Carolina and then pursue a relocation type, direction to get this done. Yet until the judge adheres to the relocation, it's still in his jurisdiction. And I already know, based on experience of how this judge has handled my case from the beginning, that that's not going to happen. He's got a personal vendetta against me. So no matter what direction I turn, until he's no longer on my case, then I'm stuck with it. Even with the fight to appeal, because he prides himself in being the final say. In fact, if you look in the Sentinel, And you look up this Judge Cohen, he prides himself in having that final say and not having it reach appellate court. And he's done that by withholding judgments from that third mother that I told you about. And I don't understand how it works or how he's able to do it, but I know that he does it. And he prides himself. If you look up his profile, you'll see that. So I know I have an uphill battle, and it's already been 7 months and excruciating, because this type of thing has no, it really doesn't have a time cap on it. You know what I mean? Like, I never expected for it to go this long.
Right.
And, his way of communicating to my son, he's allowing me 10 minutes a day, FaceTime. So I'm such a dangerous criminal mother, which has been married for 13 years and a stay-at-home mom, can't even physically see my son or talk to him for more than 10 minutes a day. So that tells you that this judge's mindset is very corrupt, and that he's impartial, and he's punishing me for political views. And
Right.
as much as I want to fight back, I don't know what that looks like anymore, because everything that's happened so far has been shocking, absolutely shocking. And then everybody that gets in on it is saying it really falls down to the judge, that nobody else can step in.
Well, there are avenues, and we're not going to stop fighting. So we're going to pray, and we're going to fight, and we're going to pray, and we're going to fight.
Yes, and that's what we need to do. And it's all in God's hands at the end of the day. And this here, these judges think they can get away with murder.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stop them. They need to be removed. And one way is go after his license.
Well, he does have misconduct under his belt. He has been held accountable on some levels.
Correct.
There's other mothers I've spoken with that don't have COVID-related cases that are very clear that this judge doesn't read the fine print, and he just makes decisions based on his impulse. So he doesn't belong on the bench. Yet,
No, he does.
Being able to push that is the issue, and something that our team is working on. But it's been an overwhelming process. It's been mentally and physically draining for me, for my family. It's exhausted every avenue that we have. We put a GoFundMe out there to help with the fees that are associated with it. We've been putting everything into prayer. I agree with you. This is a spiritual warfare. This isn't something that's of the flesh. This is something that's of the darkness and the principalities, and a fight for my soul. Our household is a Christian-based household. The one he's in is not. And so, the enemy is using anything he can through the flesh. And as an army of Christians and through prayer, I strongly believe that this can be overturned. I just don't know the when and the how of it, because of the stretch that it's been so far. And the amount of me having to be still has been, put on me. I was within walking distance to my son a few months ago when the police were involved, and I didn't even get to touch him because I'm such a dangerous person. Mother has set such precedents and has lied continuously, including the deputy at the court that I have on recording, that I'm a mother that's shopping around, right? I'm doing talk shows, I'm calling the police, I'm calling their sergeants, I'm calling the governor, I'm doing all this. So because I'm doing that, I'm being labeled as a shopping around person to get my son back. So they're not looking at that as greatness. They're looking at as there's something wrong with me.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you from experience, I'm going through the same exact situation. I've actually, I told you I filed several lawsuits on the whole mask mandate. And there's one business that violated my constitutional right. And I actually got threatened yesterday. I got a threatening phone call. Was told that after hours, I should just very demanding this guy, and I'll name his name, Rocky Marciano. He said, you tell the guards at the Jefferson Parish Courthouse, you want to see Rocky Marciano. Well, none of these guards heard of him. I've actually had to file a restraining order against this guy. Come to find out, he is part of the organization that I'm suing. make a long story short here is that in their lawsuit, I was reading their motion to dismiss. And in their motion to dismiss, they said that I was not forced to leave because I wasn't wearing a mask. Now, needless to say, this is how the whole recording, this is how everything started. So they claimed that I was this bad person and I was making a disturbance in the place. And I don't want to name the organization because of legal reasons, but at the end of the day, they made me look like I was the bad guy, and I wasn't. I got video that states otherwise. I was there peacefully. We played the video. Video showed me being there peacefully. But they will paint us as the bad guy. And you follow my orders. You follow my demands. If not, we're going to paint you to a dangerous society. And then we'll do things as go after your children. We're going to go after your family. We're going to go after anybody and everybody they can. That's the mentality of this. And people like us, we're strong. We know what's going on. We need to stand up to them and say, you're not going to bully me. You cannot intimidate me. And you need to let these people know that you're not going to be intimidated by them.
Just keep on, going back to it. Keep being a voice for your son. Keep exposing it. The reason they don't want you to speak to the media or do these shows is because you're exposing them.
Yes.
So that's a reverse tactic to intimidate you to stop doing what you're doing. But it's going to work. Eventually, it's going to work. And that's what you keep doing. Don't stop. Don't let them intimidate you. The truth is the truth, and it always sets us free.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about the hearing today, which I know you can't give a whole lot of information, but the information you can give, tell us a little bit about it.
So I'm waiting to hear confirmation from my attorney because there's a document that has been emailed to me with the judge's signature on it that states that all COVID-related restrictions have been vacated because Florida is now in phase 3. Correct. So anything having to do with restrictions regarding COVID should be null and void. I don't have that clear to her. I haven't spoken to her. I'm hoping that that's the case. And then with that being said, I have to go through the motions again of the same judge in order to pursue my timeshare with my son. And I'm not sure what that looks like because like you said, where you were harassed into your situation and having someone paint a bad picture of you, that's what happened to me. That's why my son's father has the time that he has, because when he decided that he wanted to have my son as much as he had some, he began pursuing me, stalking me, harassing me, taking me to depositions, fighting with me daily to the point where I was sick and having a miscarriage from the stress level. And during my deposition, I was cornered by his team. And they said, if you want what's best for your son, and you want this to go away, and you don't want to have to put yourself and your son and your family through this anymore, then you're going to give in to what we want. And doing so was something that I didn't want to do, but the lawyer I had at the time said, if you care about your family, instead of worrying about this child that's from a rape, because my son's father raped me, the one that has my son right now, and he's also done other criminal things that he's been arrested for, but the police have not been able to, the state attorney has emailed me, you know what? We know that you're a victim, but we can't win this case, so we're not going to prosecute it. We're dropping it. So when I was pushed into a situation under duress and I agreed to something off the record, I called my attorney to tell him I don't agree, and I emailed him, and he said, it's too late, it's done. It's not your attorney anymore. So then I called the judge that we're talking about, and I spoke to his JA, and I said, listen, this just happened. I'd like a hearing. I don't agree with what just happened. She said, I can't promise you anything, and then it was done. So then when my husband and I of 13 years sold our house to get the equity money in order to hire a really good attorney, the one that I have right now, when I finally had my day in court before the judge, he said to me, because it took you so long to get before me, I'm not going to hear this today. Even though the agreement stated that if either parent moves out of the county, which the father did first, it's null and void. So I've never had a chance. I've never had a fair hearing. I've never had the judge know the facts behind the case. It's only been the father lying in court saying, okay, I'm a felon. If I were a felon, would I have a license permit to carry a concealed weapon?
No, you would not.
I have that. So So
Even if
therefore,
you had misdemeanors, you wouldn't have a
Right.
license. If you had any negative marks, you wouldn't.
right.
Well, open, we don't need a license though.
Correct. But at the end of the day, they're painting you, and
Hmm.
you need to paint them. You need to fight back just like they're fighting you, and use those same tactics, because obviously the father has some kind of connections, or the attorney has some kind of connections with the judge or with the courts that's making this go away, and on this side.
Yep,
And
I agree with you.
correct. And of course, keep us posted on everything. We know you have a lot going on, so we're going to let you go and get back to what's going on. But please keep us posted. We'll bring you back on. Let us know what they say in the hearing today, and maybe in the weeks coming we can bring you back on, and hopefully it'll be a victory story that you'll get to see your son and get custody of your son. And
We'll be
go from there.
praying for you. We
Yes.
appreciate your story. We're sorry that the judge is unjust, and we'll be lifting Logan up, and we'll be lifting you up and your family. And let's just see what happens from here. But thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate you giving us the voice to this. And I know that the fact that Judge is able to do this and has done it, that he needs to be stopped, that he shouldn't be practicing behind the bench, And so even if my story has a good outcome, we have to.
His name one more time.
Judge Dale Cohen.
And how many
Circuit Court.
There's two other women that he took their children from him.
He
Over
did.
masks.
Yeah. The two other women were about the mask. Another woman that I've been speaking to, her story is that she was a single mom for 10 years. The dad decided he wanted the children. He showed up in court. She was never served. And because of that, the judge handed custody to that father. And those children were abused for 25 days until she could get a court hearing to show the judge did something wrong. So he makes impulse decisions, and he puts children at risk.
Yeah.
Something is very wrong with this judge, and he needs to be removed. And that will be our prayer, that he is removed from that bench immediately, and that the Lord will do it himself.
Exactly. And God will do things, and he'll remove them one way or the other.
Yes.
He'll be either removed by the courts, he'll be removed by God. God has his way of getting people out. At the end of the day,
pray
and put it in God's hands. And
yeah, because honestly, I just wanted to say, like, he did this to me, right? Irregardless of what this court order just said, the fact is he did this to me, and our country doesn't rise up and put an end to this type of behavior, then that means that your children are susceptible, your neighbor's children are susceptible. If you're living your life and breathing air and not adhering to their political views or their misconception of how we're supposed to live our life, the bottom line is that if you are like me and you love God, and I didn't proudly say I'm a Republican, but I'll tell you that I am, right? And it shows, because I believe in the Second Amendment and I believe in freedom of speech. And because of that, I'm being punished. So if that can happen to me, a law-abiding citizen of home, a stay-at-home mom, and a family can be ripped apart because a judge decides to make an example out of me, then that can happen to anybody. And with that being said, he needs to be stopped. He needs to be made of an example, so that this doesn't give another judge a power trip to do the same thing, which actually judges are doing the same thing, right? So there should be some sort of interjectory law, or legislation needs to change or something, so that they don't have this power anymore and they're held accountable. So when we've got people saying defund the police because the police are doing things in their eyes that's wrong, then why don't we have the same type of power pull with the people against judges that do more damage things than the police do?
That's correct. That's happening here in Louisiana. We have another case too that we're fighting forward that is very unjust, and a little boy by the name of Chase. And we believe that the justice system did not protect him, and that they're still not protecting him. And so Judge Donald Rowan is up for a new election. He's up for election, and I'm pushing and advocating that he not be reelected.
Exactly. And
so we have to just be voice out there and keep doing what you're doing, and we appreciate you.
Thank you for your time, and please keep us posted.
The Lord bless you.
Thank you. You as well. God bless.
Hashtag save our children. Follow the Facebook page when the system fails.
So, guys, we're back here, and of course, you just heard us. We're on 990 AM. If you're in the New Orleans area, WGSO from 5 to 6 today. Tune in. We're going to be talking about the debate tonight.
Yes, we are. That's 5 p.m. Central Time.
Yes, so check back with us at 5 p.m. Central Time. We're going to go because we have to get ready to move on to the studios in New Orleans. And may God bless you. Remember to listen to us on WGSO 990 AM, or if you're not in the New Orleans area and you can't catch us, you can actually go to the WGSO.com website and listen to the podcast, or you can listen to us later on Liberty or Lockdown.live.
Yes, I also want to give a credit to that video. We did not publish that video. That video that you're watching with When the System Fails. When the System Fails, produce that video.
Okay.
For Justice for Chase.
Yes, and this is all alleged. We're going to use the word alleged, so we're not saying someone did do this. We're saying it's allegedly until the courts.
Unfortunately, you have to say that so you don't get sued.
Well, it's not only that. We're not the judge, and we have to let the judge and the courts make the decision. So until the courts make the decision and either rule someone as a sexual predator or not, they're alleged victims. Are not alleged victims. The victims are alleged. I'm sorry, I'm saying it backwards. They're allegedly committing the crime. So, until we're not the court system, we need just justice to take place. And that's all we're asking is for justice for Chase. And that Chase may have a voice in the courts and a fair hearing.
And we're praying for new judges.
Yes.
And they're going into the appeals on April 9th, so be praying. Come and join.
Not April 9th.
I'm sorry, October 9th, 2020.
Yes.
They'll be doing in an appeals for that trial.
Yes.
And on October 9th, you're welcome to join the peaceful assembly in front of the courthouse on the West Bank.
Yes, it's the appellate court, which is right across the street from it's on Durbandy Street. It's right across from the main courthouse. So if you go to the main courthouse, you stand in front of the building, just turn and look straight across the street to your left a little bit, and it's the big appellate court right there. So we're going to be meeting at 8 a.m.?
8 a.m. on October 9th, 2020.
Yes, come out.
Come out and peacefully assemble.
Bring your signs and let's assemble. And we're going to also pray for Chase.
We'll be praying.
May God bless you, and we will see you in a couple of days.
Should we give credit to that video? That's not ours.
Exactly. that was perfect timing. I'm walking.